ever.
I would just like to say I was looking at myself in the video camera, and with this pattern jersey and my gold necklace on that's like a little longer than a choker, I feel like a dirtbag New Yorker in this fit. Like I look like I'm about to disrespect you.
You do. You do.
Like
You look like I'm
that's what
about
I'm
to tell you that I'm from Boston.
like yeah. So that's the vibe I'm giving today.
I
So
love it.
if I catch an attitude,
I
it's
won't
not
be
me.
surprised.
It's the fit.
It won't be the first time. And you can blame the fit, but we all know.
Yeah, for anyone who's watching, we're wearing our new Furious Motorsport of Vegas jerseys. They're little crop guys.
I
So
love them.
cute because we are off to Vegas so soon.
Literally in a week,
Um,
basically.
I know it's kind of insane.
I can't believe. Well, here's the thing that I really can't believe, Nicole. I cannot believe that we're going to the inaugural Las Vegas Grand Prix, and our episode that drops on the day that we unite in Vegas for this Grand Prix is our 100th episode.
100th episode. I know it's just like so, it feels so special because also you and I have been like talking about for like the past year how we were like manifesting getting ourselves to Vegas. We were
Yeah,
like, we're not buying tickets, like we're gonna go on someone else's dime. Like we know that to be true. And so obviously we manifest minute almost every single episode of this podcast. And to know that our manifest minute came true just
literally.
feels so right.
It feels so right. No, truly right before this, I was looking at my vision board that I created last January, and just like so much of it has happened, and it's
Yeah.
like it's so cool. Yeah. I mean, well, obviously like stuff that I made happen, like I had a bunch of like wedding stuff on there. So I
Well,
was like,
always. You
I'm
make everything
right.
happen.
True. But like I had wedding stuff on there. So obviously like I got married, but like I had a Ferrari Trento bottle on there, and like we went to Ferrari Trento winery, and I had all this like Italian summer stuff on there, and like we took a trip to Italy in the Italian summer.
We
And
did.
I had like some stuff for like London and the UK, and like Nick and I are planning a trip there. Like it just like feels like so right that like we have just like done so many things this
Yeah.
year that we set out for.
It's so special and I think it's important. I have to remind myself this a lot is that I feel like we want to be here, but when we are in the moment, we're always thinking about the next thing
Mhm.
instead of like being present with our successes.
Mhm.
So I really want to make sure when we're in Vegas that we like really appreciate how far we've come. Like
Yeah.
texting you today that we've almost been doing this for 4 years is kind of fucking insane.
That's like insane to me.
Like 4 years we've been at this, like that's nuts.
Bananas. It's like banana pancakes for real.
And so I think it's important for us to just reflect on where we were 4 years ago and how
I
we
know.
literally and
Lit-
couldn't have dreamed of this. Like
No.
we just were
I
2
mean, it's like
girls douching
like
around on the internet.
before anyone was doing it.
Yeah.
That's like the craziest thing is like it feels so normal now because there's
Mhm.
all these other like incredible female hosted podcasts and like all these other like content creators in the space, and like there was virtually none of that when we
Yeah.
started TG1F, and like
Yeah, because we couldn't find anyone. We were like, we have to start it ourselves because there's no one else
yeah, like
talking about this the way that we want to.
it was like insane. Like I feel like I think back on that, and we were like such a struggle bus at the beginning because it was like, does anyone care about this? I don't know. There's nothing
Yeah.
like this. Like, couldn't see how it would work because there was none of it. And then we did it. And now, like, I look around and I'm like, oh my God, all I see on my like Discover page now is like female F1 creators. And I'm like, it's so cool to like look back on that. And like 4 years ago, that was like just not the space.
Yeah. It's insane, and I'm so proud of what we've been able to accomplish and kind of what we've been through and where we're going. Because obviously, we might be 100 episodes in, but there will be 100 more.
At least
So y'all can't get rid of us. That's for
can't get rid of
sure.
us.
Two people asked us for a podcast, and now look at where we're at.
And now look at this, 100 episodes in.
So be careful what you wish for, folks, because you
You just
just
might get
might
it.
get it. Anyway, if this is your first time joining us, welcome. This
Welcome.
is the TG1F pod, an F1 podcast hosted by Kate and Nicole. I'm Nicole,
I'm Kate.
and this is our show.
This is our show. We're your hosts, and
This is our 99th show.
this is our 99th show.
Our last in the
Where
double digits before we enter
the
a
triple.
century.
We on this podcast we talk about Formula One, and we also talk about whatever the heck else we want to. And so,
Because
on that
we
note,
run the show.
let's do it.
Let's do it. I'm excited to talk today.
Me too. I think it's gonna be fun. We crowdsourced a lot of people's favorite F1 rumors, and we will be
Yeah.
discussing all of them and breaking them down in depth. So if you don't know what some of these rumors are about, we got you.
Stay tuned.
But first, we have to do a little recap of Brazil. Come to Brazil.
Come to
F1
Brazil. And you know what? The scenes out of the Sao Paulo airport this past week were giving huge One Direction
Yes.
come to Brazil vibes.
Everything
Like
gives One Direction a little bit.
Charles at the airport being mobbed like that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that when they were teenagers and they were like, I'm going to be an F1 driver someday, do you think that they anticipated
No.
that they'd be at that level of like
No.
celebrity stardom? Like they're
Well,
like a Justin Bieber level, kind of.
no, it's crazy. They really are. I know. I wonder because I mean, I would say probably not just like in that time period, but also at the same time, if F1 is what you want to do and like those are your heroes, then like yeah, maybe. Like
Yeah,
I
that's
just
fair.
wasn't a fan at that age, so like I don't know. But like if that's like I mean, especially for Charles living in Monaco, like
Yeah,
having the Monaco Grand Prix, like and seeing all of the famous people every year, then maybe that is what he thought it was gonna
that's
be.
fair. That's totally fair. I just am like watching some of the footage. I'm like, this is insanity, which a couple episodes ago we talked about paddock safety. Like Pierre and a bunch of drivers came out about like paddock safety,
Yeah.
and they had even mentioned last year's Mexico race was like kind of insane.
Yeah,
And
it
so
was.
I was
I
reading
remember
about
that.
how this year they cut down on the amount of people allowed in the paddock, and it was just a much calmer environment. So it's kind of just insane to be like, no, they need like full bodyguards, they need full security teams like walking around in
Literally.
public.
I wonder if everyone saw a literal rebel.
I'm gonna marry her someday.
If you know, you
Wow, an
know.
icon. If you don't know, you don't know, and I
If you
don't
don't
have
know,
time to explain
you
it to
just don't
you.
know. But okay, not to bring the mood down, but I do have to talk about my man's Charles.
Yeah, we gotta talk about Charles.
What's happening to him? Oh my god, his radio when he crashed out. First of all, crashing out in the formation lap is just
In
like
the formation
so
lab.
embarrassing. And like it wasn't his fault, so like it's not
No,
embarrassing for him, but it's like embarrassing in general. Like that's
for the
like
team.
what is that the equivalent of? Like I feel like that's the equivalent of like a dream where you're naked or you're like out in public and you're naked and you're just like immediately like, "Oh my god, I'm so embarrassed. I can't believe I did this." Or like you give a speech and you like don't know what you're saying. Like that's literally like formation lap DNFing.
It's simply just like the worst thing that
Yeah.
could happen to you.
But his
Because
radio
it's worse than not starting, because if you're not
Mhm.
starting, then you're like, well, it's already, a no-go for me. I've already accepted my fate. But to be in
Yeah.
P2 and ready to kind of like kick off that first lap like drag race and
So
to hit the
brutal.
wall in the formation lap is so
Like so
devastating.
brutal because like like lap 1 is embarrassing because it's like you couldn't even get past like turn 1 sometimes. But like
Yeah.
at least you're going full speed. Like formation lap, you're like not even driving that fast. It's just like everyone's going
They're
slow.
crashing at a speed that we would crash at.
Yeah. So, but like his radio, after, and he's like, why am I so fucking unlucky?
Fucking
Why am I
unlucky.
so fucking unlucky? And I was like, why are you so fucking unlucky? It's like so upsetting, and we have to revisit.
We
We
know
have
why
to
he's so
revisit the
unlucky.
curse because
We know it.
obviously, on this podcast we conspirized. Is that how you say that?
Theorized,
We had a
conspiracy
conspiracy
theorized.
theory that inspired. That's what it is.
Yeah,
That
thank
would be the
you.
word. Yeah. We conspired that Giada, Carl's ex-girlfriend, two girlfriends
Ex
ago.
girlfriend.
Now,
Yep.
yeah. His great ex-girlfriend. What are you doing, like great grandparents?
His
His
big,
grand his grand
his grand big.
his grand ex, Giada, cursed him because
Mhm.
they were together for 5 years, and then they broke up, and
'Cause he
he
said, "I
apparently
gotta
was
focus on my
he had just gotten his Ferrari
Ferrari
contract, and he
career."
was like, "I'm focusing on my career. I don't have time for this. I don't have time for you." And she said, "Fine." And then like 2 weeks later, he was like, "This is my new girlfriend, Charlotte." So we were like, "Okay, Giada."
Who was one
Who
of her
was one of
friends.
Giada's best friends, yes.
Yeah,
So we said Giada cursed him. Like, Giada is
yeah.
the reason that
It
he
only makes
it
sense.
only makes sense. Like, connect the dots, people. All right.
Just
If you think
suspend some
logically,
disbelief here
yeah.
and
Think
think
about
about
it a
it,
little bit
okay?
critically, and you too will come to that conclusion. However, I think we may have a double curse happening right
I
now.
think so too.
Because obviously, like, he and Charlotte broke up, and then again, not long after, he's dating Alex, who is again a
Your new
monogamous
girl is my
girl.
clone.
So I think that Charlotte called up her old friend, her old pal Giada, and was like, "Hey, girl,
The
he did
coven's
it to
getting back
me.
together.
Like, I'm so sorry. He did it to me too. You were right. You were right." And they kind of, probably had a little wine night, got a little wine drunk. We're just like doing the girly thing where you're like gossiping, you're mutually hating, you're fueling each other's hate fire. And Giada's like,
Mhm.
listen, what I did the other year is I voodooed the shit out of Charles, and it's been working.
Mhm.
You want to get in on that with me? And Charlotte was like, yeah, I've been like trying to do my rebound with Creed from Too Hot to Handle, and like that's kind of fizzling out, so I need something new in my life, so like maybe I'll try casting spells and curses. And so they did that together, and it's just really gone in on him this year. And so I think that
Yeah.
he's just working on a double curse.
He has a lot of repenting to do, I think,
I think the
and
only logical thing is he really needs to focus on himself. He needs to go on like an apology tour of
he
everything.
needs
He needs
he
a
needs
year of rest and relaxation, maybe like an eat, pray, love year for himself.
yeah. He needs also to go on Etsy and find a witch who will
Mhm.
remove a hex from him.
Yes, absolutely. I mean,
And
that's a given.
so
That's
that's
a
step number 1. Step number 1, he's gotta go on Etsy, find an Etsy witch, remove the curse.
given. Mhm.
Step number 2, make amends.
Repent.
It's kind of like AA. It's
Like,
like you
it's
gotta go
it's he needs to go on a Queen Cersei, repenting walk,
shame,
confess,
shame.
shame, shame, shame. He needs to walk naked through the town square. I'll be there with bells on. I'll throw some soggy food at him, and he needs to go through that, and
It's the
then
only
he
way.
needs to probably Alex, if you're listening, you probably need to get out of there for a little bit,
Mhm.
because Charles needs an eat, pray, love year where he goes and just really
Yeah.
focuses on bettering himself and being okay with being alone.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's gonna be the only solution for him.
Unfortunately,
So,
I don't make the rules.
me either.
I'm just the mess. Don't shoot the messenger.
Sorry.
I just think
Sorry, babes. Gotta grow up a little bit.
I'm just here spitting facts, truth, dropping truth
It's
bombs on my guy.
his Saturn return is approaching.
He's
He's
got to get
going
it right.
through his
He's got
yeah,
to fix
it's
the
tough for him.
chakras.
Yeah, he's gotta align, he's gotta repent, he's gotta
His
do a lot
chakras
of
are all out of whack, and
yeah. He needs a sound bath, he needs a
yeah,
saging.
yeah, he
So,
really does. So, yeah, sorry, Charles. That's
let's
what's got to happen.
maybe make a New Year's resolution. Maybe you 2 need to make a mood board, an inspiration board, for 2024 and hopefully get rid of that bad juju.
Let it be gone.
Better better luck next time.
You know
Good
who
luck,
else
Chuck.
might need to do that? Toto Wolff.
Mercedes.
Toto might need to be like hopping on the bandwagon with Charles because Toto is not feeling very confident, and I don't really feel like he's playing the part of team principal very well,
It's
by
not,
saying
it's
this
so
car does not deserve. It's
uncharacteristic.
funny because obviously we follow Mercedes on like all social media, and I also follow them on LinkedIn, and it's like very funny, like seeing their like team language that's coming out, like we're
The
rebuilding,
corporate
we're gonna come back
mojo.
stronger, like
Yeah.
it's not over yet, we're still fighting, we're here. And then Toto's like, this car doesn't deserve a win. And I'm like, okay, someone needs to give Toto his talking points because he's going wildly off script.
He's not wrong though.
He's not wrong, but he's going off the approved script. Like, and then everyone's online like, it's gonna be great. Like, nothing is wrong. And I'm like, well, Toto's saying something's wrong. So
You know, it's bad when the CEO is like, we should all give up. We should all give up and go home at this point
yeah,
because it's a wrap.
yeah.
Like, I mean, even Lewis is like, I can't wait to fucking. He's like, I can't. Thank God that race is over. Like, thank God, I'm done. I'm done with this car.
Every
I can't
single
wait to
race,
never drive this car again.
every single race, Lewis is like literally Xing the date off on his calendar. He's like,
He has a
oh my
countdown on his widget on his home screen, and it
yeah,
is counting down until the last lap of Abu Dhabi, and he can just
he
be
can't
done.
wait. He can't wait.
But you know who did have a pretty significant weekend this weekend?
Our
Was Lil
boy,
Landy.
Lil Andy.
I just
Yeah, he didn't do
like,
bad.
he did not, he got second place. And at one point, he even put the moves on
He was
Max.
putting the
He
move. He was
tried,
popping that pressure on.
he was.
He was
And what,
pressure cooking.
I was just like, oh my God, okay, things are happening.
I
And I feel like
know.
we haven't seen action like that, especially with Max leading. Obviously, with like Max trying to move up the pack, we see some action like that, but like not with him leading. So I was thoroughly impressed. So
Yeah.
great job, Lando. Pat yourself on the back for that
Thank
one.
you, Lando. Golf clap for Lando. Thank you for some excitement. We also had some like pretty crazy excitement from Alonso and
Yes.
Checo. Checo had a little bit of a redemption race. He was battling for second for a while. He was battling for third for a while. He did end up coming in fourth, but like photo finish. I was
It
obsessed with the photo
was,
finish.
yeah, the whole last lap between the two of them, I was like, what's going to happen? What's
It
going to
reminded me it reminded me of last year. So the 2022 season, the
happen?
first couple races when Charles and Max were like every race they were like one would get in front of the other and then the other one would like,
Hmm.
and it was like reminding me of that because I was like that was so exciting.
Yeah.
And like that's what the Alonso Checo battle was reminding me of. But I was obsessed with afterwards Alonso being like, I told Checo that he can't put me under that much pressure again because I am of a certain age. And I was like, okay,
He
love to hear you
said,
say that.
respect your elders,
Which
bitch.
also will tie into one of the rumors that we're going to discuss later because apparently
Hmm.
Alonso does know his own age. But one of the rumors we're hearing, there's a conspiracy that maybe he doesn't know how old he is. And that
Hmm.
is what I call a cliffhanger. We'll get to it later. But yeah, Alonso is having a very good race. Back on the
Yeah.
podium, happy about it for him.
Happy about it. First time him and Lando have shared a podium
Mhm.
together. And, while I might have been wrong about Lance's redemption year, I think in my eyes it's Alonso's redemption year because his social media team has really come out
Yeah,
swinging in full force, and I just find everything that he posts like so funny.
yeah.
And Lando posted a photo and he was like, me and two world champions. And then Alonso commented and said, no, you're a world champion too. Don't forget you won the karting world series with Team Alonso, whatever. And
So
it was
cute.
just like so sweet and so wholesome. And I was like, he has replaced Seb as the dad of the grid. Like it's just so true. And he is
It's
so
really
funny
sweet.
and so supportive, and he knows that he's kind of came into the season being the bad guy, and I am just like obsessed with his
I think he's
character
just in
arc
his
and
own
his
lane now.
redemption.
He's just like, whatever, leave me out of the drama. I'm just
Yeah.
here.
So congratulations, Alonso. You are actually the
You've done
winner
it.
of this season. So thank you so much.
So I know we said that Lando had a really good race, but I did see a stat today that Lando has now officially equaled the record for most podiums without a win. His
Tough.
time is coming though, because
Who is he tied with?
I forget. I just saw a graphic on Instagram, so obviously it had to be true. But his time is coming because, I mean, McLaren was really struggling for a while, but I feel like once they got this most recent upgrade, they've been like consistently the second fastest team on the grid. So
Mhm.
I'm feeling really good about his chances. And I'm
Yeah.
feeling like McLaren is going in the right direction. So hopeful for CeeLo Landy on the top step soon. He
They
deserves.
almost it was almost a McLaren sandwich
I
this
know.
weekend. If we take Max out, we can consider it a McLaren sandwich because we had Lando in second
Exactly.
and Oscar in last. So yeah, tough start to the race for Danny and Oscar. The two Australians really got hit hard with that crash between, was it K-Mag or Nico?
Okay,
Whatever,
Mag.
one of the Haas's and Alex Albon. The tire went flying and unfortunately caused some damage. And then there was a lap down, and everyone was confused as why they were a lap down, even though it was the red flag. And so it was just kind of like chaotic, and I don't really understand it, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. Something else that is kind of chaotic, and I don't really understand it, but it is what it is Machine Gun Kelly's presence at the Brazilian Grand Prix. First of all, what are you doing there? Second of all, what was that interview? I just like have so many
People
questions,
are
and my first
people
one is just
are
why.
people are eating him up on the internet because they're like, bro is such a dick. He is like, and you know what? It is so nice to see the vitriol pointed at a man
Yeah.
because usually when Martin interviews women and they talk like this, it's literally we just hate women central.
hmm
But it was so nice to see people being mad at Machine Gun Kelly. And you
Well,
know what?
Machine
I
Gun
say
Kelly
this
is just as polarizing as women, pretty typically.
anyway, I say this as a Machine Gun Kelly apologist. You know that
I know you love him.
he's kind of my type. At the end of the day, he's kind of my type, and I'm sorry, but it is what it is. Again,
It's
I don't make the
chaotic. I
rules.
don't really understand it, but it is what it is.
I've accepted it.
Um,
I'm sorry,
that's the
but
title of this episode is it's kind of chaotic. I don't really understand it, but it is what it is. Yeah,
I just
he
like,
just I mean, like, I just have a lot of questions, and they are all like the main question things: who, what, where, when, and why. Mostly
well,
why.
so for anyone who doesn't know, he had an interview with Martin Brundle before the race, and
As like most
Martin
celebrities
said,
do.
how are you doing? And he said, thanks. And then he was like, how was, the music industry and F1 tie-in together is like really great. And then Machine Gun Kelly just asked him what he thinks of his career, what he thinks of his
No,
business, and
Martin goes, like, to Machine Kelly, he says, "Tell me, how's your career going? Tell me about it. Like, what do you have going on?" Like, kind of a typical question of, like,
yeah,
if you're here because you have a movie coming out or you, like, have new
yeah.
music, whatever. And Machine Gun Kelly just goes, like, "How's my career?" And he just goes, "I don't think about my career.
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
think about it."
Yeah.
And then Martin goes, "Okay, well, good luck with whatever it is that you do." I was just like, normally, I am not a Martin apologist because I'm like, he should essentially know who he's talking to.
Yeah.
But like at that point, I'm apologizing for him because I wouldn't know what to do with that answer either. I would also be like, okay, well, good luck with whatever it is.
Good luck with
I don't know
whatever
what
you're
you want
working
from me
on.
here. It was so awkward and so like weird. But I
And
also got a
apparently he
kick out of
left.
the meme of someone being like, when your weird uncle asks you a question at Thanksgiving and you want to get out of the combo.
I'm
That's like,
screaming.
that's fair.
That's so funny. And also apparently he left midway through the race, so he like didn't even stay for the full thing. So celebrities just want that photo of them on the grid next to the drivers, and then they peace
They can
out.
say vroom vroom bitch, and that's it.
Vroom vroom. Yeah. So the MGK debacle just makes me laugh.
The
It
MGK
made
of
me
it
laugh.
all.
The MGK of it all.
Yeah, well, I think that's basically Brazil. Anything else?
Yeah.
I didn't get to make a brunch because I was at a baby shower, but which I'm actually pretty mad about because I love the cheese bread. I love Brazilian cheese bread, and I actually have a nice Brazilian bakery down the street, and so I was pretty upset
Oh.
that I didn't get to go.
I feel like honestly, Cape Cod has a big Portuguese
Mhm.
like community.
Yeah, we have, like, a lot of pretty good, cuisines around that you, like,
Yeah.
wouldn't expect. We have a lot of pretty good, like, Mexican food, and, yeah, a lot of good Portuguese. We have some decent like Asian restaurants. And then I told you we went to the best Indian restaurant like that I've ever been to, and it was in a hotel lobby.
I don't think you told me this.
Hotel Motel Holiday Inn.
I don't remember this.
Oh, I think Nick was gonna surprise you and Carly the next time you came because we were gonna be like, we're going to our favorite Indian place, and we're just gonna pull up at like the Holiday Inn. We're gonna be like, what?
I'm screaming.
No, it was
I'm
so good.
dead.
It was literally in a hotel lobby. I like think that the people that own that like hotel franchise location also own the restaurant. And or
Okay.
it was just like a really solid option. They were like, okay, it's like cheap. We already have tables and everything and like a kitchen. It's so good.
Okay. Well, can't wait to go next time
Really
I'm
some
in
of the best
town.
Indian I've had like almost ever
Amazing.
in a hotel. It was amazing. So we'll go. But yeah, Cape Cod is where it's at, basically. We're actually the melting pot of the US.
You heard it here first. Okay, let's get into some F1, bigger F1 news.
Yeah, before
Tell
we
me
get into
about this.
rumors,
Yeah, tell me about this sprint weekend update.
so people are they're talking about
The streets were saying.
the people. You know who I'm talking about. They are discussing sprints and some potential updates for 2024. So, according to Sky Sports F1, they said that talks have taken place to move sprint shootouts to Friday, and then the sprint to Saturday morning, and then qualifying, the traditional qualifying, to Saturday afternoon, like where it usually is.
hmm
And I'm like, that's smart. That is very
hmm
smart because right now it just like doesn't really make sense. I'm like, okay, so we're
Yeah.
qualifying on Friday for the Sunday race, and then we have like randomly Saturday. So I
Yeah.
like having like sprint shootout Friday, sprint and qualifying on Saturday, and then the race Sunday. So that could be
Yeah.
nice. And then they're also they're also
But
discussing.
I feel like I'm nervous.
Okay,
It makes me nervous about having the sprint race before qualifying because what if you get like into an accident on the same day? Like you have no time to fix a car.
yeah.
So doesn't seem great. I'd rather have it be like qualifying first,
Well, that's what
like
it is
sprint
right now.
shootout Friday and then qualifying for the race on Saturday first and then it's the sprint race.
Hmm. Yeah. I don't know. I think they're just trying to batch things together. I don't know.
I just think that the sprint race now don't really make any sense because they're not for
I
anything.
know. I mean, they don't.
Well, I would like to see them reverse grid
So
the
they're
sprints.
they're talking about like discussions about the format of the sprint shootout and the race. So maybe reverse grid would happen, but they're also talking about like not making it mandatory to use certain tires in different
Mm.
periods, and also the segments, and making the shootout session shorter or longer. I don't know. So they're talking about a bunch of different things. So I think it's pretty safe to say that next year we'll still see sprint races, but we may see some updates to the format and the schedule, and maybe it'll be good, maybe it'll be worse. Who knows?
Who's to say?
Who's to say?
Not
And
you.
that's a phrase that we're going to be using a lot right now. Oh, ladies and gentlemen,
Disclaimer.
it's time for
Disclaimer.
rumors.
Disclaimer.
Disclaimer,
Allegedly. Everything
allegedly.
is alleged.
Allegedly. Everything is alleged. None of
We
this is fact.
we've done no research. We just asked you guys to submit some rumors that you've heard. We are not liable for anything. This is all a joke. This is for public court of opinion and in the court of law. We are just talking about what we've heard. We're not saying any of it is fact. Nothing is real.
Correct. So we're going to start it off with a bang.
Welcome to our rumor mill, bitch.
Welcome to the rumor mill. We're going to start it off with one that we did talk about a couple weeks ago. But a lot of people wanted a deeper dive, a deeper explanation. And so that's the rumor of the secret F1 baby, specifically
Yes.
related to Carlos Sainz. So as some background, and we're gonna dive into this and why people came up with Carlos, maybe who else it could have referred to. But a couple weeks ago, a fake Dumois story was making its rounds on the internet. If you don't know Dumois, I don't know what to tell you, but it's basically a celebrity gossip account where people
It's
send in like anonymous tips or like pieces. Basically, this people will send in like rumors that they've
likely
heard.
place for them to be.
Yeah, and this account like posts them online, and people can kind of debate their truth or whatever. So a lot of like celebrity news is kind of broken on Dumois, like people that are in relationships, people that are getting divorced, people that are like having a new movie come out, people that are feuding. So it's become a pretty like cult followed account. So the other week, a post was going around that was allegedly from Dumois, ended up not being, but it was someone saying that an F1 driver had a secret child with a woman, and that's why his long-term relationship ended, and he's now in a new relationship, but not with the baby's mother. So there was allegedly some cheating going on, and
Mm-hmm.
so it was, he had a long-term girlfriend, cheated on them, had a baby with one woman, and then they broke up, and he started dating like a separate third entity woman. And he had completely abandoned this child and like is not,
Mm-hmm.
paying for them, whatever. So of course people are immediately speculating about who that could be. And so from our end, we took this into account. We said, all right, well, who on the grid has recently gotten out of a long-term relationship? Number one that everyone thought of, Carlos Sainz, because he and
Mm-hmm.
Issa were together for 7 years and they broke up, and now he's dating Rebecca.
Mm-hmm.
The other people it could have been Charles.
Yep.
He was with Charlotte for a long time, broke up with her, and now he's dating Alex. It could also have been Pierre, though not as likely because he and Kika had been together for like
Yeah,
a
and I
long
wouldn't
time.
say Trina was like that long term.
Right.
It was like a year.
Yeah. So we're like, Pierre could have been in it. If someone didn't know a ton about the F1 world, like maybe they would like count that. If they weren't like as in the know of the wags as we are. And someone that I just recently thought of that I kind of didn't think of at the time was Mick Schumacher. Because Mick and Justine broke up around this time last year as well. And then now he's dating
Could have been Lance though too. Lance
eh,
and Sarah
Lance and Sarah
were in
broke
a
up
very long
way
term.
long ago. Like I feel like Lance had a whole like season where he was not with anyone.
It also could have been Esteban.
And it could have been Esteban because he and Elena broke up and he allegedly has a new girlfriend, though we're not sure.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone was just speculating. Dumois came out and was like, this is fake. This isn't actually real. But it's a fun rumor. And everyone is very bought in on the fact that Carlos has a secret baby
Mm-hmm.
that he has abandoned.
Yeah, so apparently Carlos
Including
is a
Tonka Bar
deadbeat
again.
dad. John Gabar! No, not this again. Should we start the rumor? What's the baby's name?
Tonka Bar. It's actually Tonka Bar back in action. It's Tonka Bar 2.0.
Chonkabar 2.0. They're back.
Tonka Bar
Um,
signs.
I I'm screaming. Chonkabar signs the third.
No, he would have to be Carlos Sainz to be a third.
Okay.
Carlos Chonkabar Sainz. As long as Chonkabar is in there, I'm good.
Amazing. Yeah, so if you didn't know about the baby rumors, that was a chaotic like 12 hours on the internet. It was very fun though. I love a good rumor.
A good, absolutely chaotic rumor with zero basis in fact.
And I just know Carlos is sitting there, eyes glazed over, mouth slightly ajar. At any given time, he's like, maybe I have a kid. Maybe. I don't
Like
know.
he's
Do
calling
I?
up
I
and
gotta.
he's like, "Is that why?" He's, "What do you know?
What do you know?
What do you know that I don't know?"
Now, this next one is not really a rumor. It's just something that was really funny that happened on the internet recently. And that is Oscar Piastri got confused for Oscar Pistorius. And this one woman tweeted, and she was like, I can't believe McLaren is employing a murderer. I can't believe he's still allowed to race. I can't believe, like, she was just like going on and on about this. And if you don't know, Oscar Leonard Carl Pistorius is a South African former professional sprinter and convicted murderer. Both of his feet were amputated when he was 11 months old, owing to a congenital defect, and he was born missing the outside of both feet and both fibula. So the double amputee sprinter, 36, was known as the Blade Runner for his carbon fiber prosthetic legs. He fired at Riva Steenkamp 4 times through a locked bathroom door at his home in Pretoria in the early hours of Valentine's Day in 2013. A promising model and law graduate was 29. Oh, law graduate, sorry. He was 29. So he murdered his girlfriend. This woman was very, very offended that McLaren would even think about employing a murderer. And you know what? Good for her. Good for her standing in her conviction. Good for her for
Murderers
using her
have no
voice.
place in F1.
Murder is
And I'm
out
like,
in
she's not
F1.
wrong. She's
She's
not
not wrong.
wrong
I
that
would have been
McLaren
I would
should
have
not be
I would
hiring
have
murderers.
signed that petition if Oscar was a murderer, you know? But thankfully Oscar Piastri is not Oscar Pistorius, and
And he
he
allegedly has never murdered anyone,
he
to
has
my knowledge.
allegedly never murdered anyone. Who's to say?
Who's
Again,
to say? To my knowledge, he's never
he's a
murdered
squeaky clean, law-abiding citizen. But does he have skeletons in his closet?
I mean, he
I don't
murdered
know.
Danny's McLaren career. So what are we counting as murder around here?
So it's really, you just got to ask the right people right on the street. So
It's
Oscar
that was, like,
will be
the funniest
watching.
thing. That was, like, the funniest thing. I loved that. The rumor that Oscar Piastri is a murderer. Okay. Next one is the rumor that Lewis Hamilton has a foot fetish.
And we've talked about this
We've talked
before.
about this. There's plenty of evidence out there. I mean, it's very he said, she said. But plenty of Lewis's ex-lovers, shall we call them, have come out to say that Lewis would ask them to get pedicures
Pedicures.
and like they couldn't wear shoes in his bedroom. Also has a
Yeah.
thing about toilets where they couldn't use the same toilet
They
as
can't use
him.
they can't use his bathroom. I'm just wondering if that's like a sanitary thing, or if that's like, remember that woman who had sex with Drake and then went into his bathroom and took out the used condom and tried to impregnate herself,
Yes.
but he had put hot sauce in the condom, and so she got like all fucked up on the inside and she tried to sue him, and the court was like, no. No. And maybe that's what Lewis is trying to stop
Avoid.
women from doing.
He definitely idolizes Drake, so he's probably like, "Yo, Drake, what do I
What
gotta
are
do
your
here?
secrets? What are your
What
tips?
should I do to avoid this?" These women, they be trying to impregnate themselves.
So I don't know if it's out of safety concerns, or because he doesn't want to get trapped, or because he has some sort of sanitary issues.
Yeah,
He kisses Roscoe on the mouth, so I'm not really sure.
we can't get who's to say?
Who's to say?
Who's to say? This segment is called Who's to Say? Okay, so there's another rumor. We've also talked about this, but there's a rumor back in July that Charles is going to Red Bull,
Hmm.
and I don't believe it. That's all I have to say about that.
I don't believe it right now, but I don't not see it in his future.
I don't think that he would
But
go there while
again,
Max is there.
like I told you, because his luck is bad, so he better get on it. I'm worried that he's going to go to Red Bull after the regulations change,
I
and then
know.
Red Bull's era is going to be over, and he's going to be stuck in a bad team again.
It's
So
basically for I feel like it's like when you're driving and you're in a lane that's like and you're like, "Oh my god, the traffic is so slow in this
it's
lane," and the
me
one
picking
next
a
to me is
shop,
going so
a
fast, and
grocery.
you're like,
Hmm.
"Gotta get into that lane," and you go in that lane, and then it's traffic, and you're like, "I picked the wrong lane," and you always pick the wrong lane. I feel like that's Charles, and I just want
Yeah,
to be like, "Stay in the lane. Stay in the same lane. You're gonna get there. It's gonna be okay."
yeah. It's giving Danny. Okay,
It is
it's
giving
giving
Danny.
Danny.
My god, please just
So
Danny.
take a page out of Danny Ricardo's book, Charles, and stay put.
Stay where
Okay,
the fuck
stay
you are.
put.
Stay where you are. Okay. This is my favorite. I had not heard about this conspiracy theory until someone put it in our question box today. And let me tell you, I was cackling for like so long as I was reading about this. So this is the one that I was speaking of earlier
Hmm.
in terms of Alonso, knowing what age he is. And this is the 2015 Alonso crash coma conspiracy. Say that 5 times fast. So, back in 2015, Fernando Alonso was in an accident, a car accident or a crash at testing in Barcelona. And he went to the hospital afterwards. And I guess when he woke up from his coma that he was in, when he regained consciousness, he thought that the year was 1995, 20 years prior. And he said, the first thing he said to the doctors when they were like, "Who, like, do you know your name?" He said, "I'm Fernando. I'm in karts and I want to become a Formula One driver." And he like lost memory for the whole 20 years prior. And so the conspiracy theory is that he never truly recovered. And thinks he's 20 years younger than he is, and that's why he hasn't retired, and that's why he's still going strong, and he just thinks he's a lot younger than he is.
I'm screaming.
I'm like obsessed with this conspiracy. Like, it's so funny to me.
You
It's
know what?
like a
I'm bought
Hallmark
in.
movie. It's like a
I'm bought
Hallmark
in. I
movie.
believe it. With how Fernando acts, I believe it. Why not?
The jorts
That would
he
put
still
it
thinks are in.
hit his TikTok career. I believe it. I believe it. How old would he be right now if he was 20 years?
How old is Alonzo? He's 42, so he would be 22.
22?
I believe it.
That tracks.
That
That
tracks.
absolutely tracks. Him and his little TikTok career.
I believe it. I'm gonna put this down in the I subscribe to this
I
conspiracy.
subscribe. I subscribe.
Yeah, I'm like obsessed with it. So yeah, Fernando Alonso is in a coma and he lost 20 years of his life, and so now he thinks he's 20 years younger than he is. Obsessed.
It's just a longer version of the pandemic skip. Like we are all just like,
Yeah,
well, we're actually three years younger.
yeah, absolutely.
So
Duh.
Fernando, we get it.
We get it. Okay, the next one is about Vegas, and it's
Hmm.
not really a conspiracy.
This is not really a rumor. I think this is actually happening.
Yeah. So the conspiracy rumor gossip is that F1, Vegas in general hates Formula 1 right now. And
Hmm.
and they just aren't happy. They're regretting having a race there. And we also have evidence for this in terms of the strike that's about to potentially happen,
Yep.
because we need another giant strike in this country right now. But I
Power
hope
to the
that they get
people.
there. I hope they get it. I hope it works for
Hmm.
them. So, right now, the Las Vegas Strip could be the site of the largest hospitality strike in US history. 35,000 casino workers are ready to walk off the job days before the Las Vegas Grand Prix. A culinary union spokesperson said that 35,000 of its members are prepared to strike at 5 a.m. on Friday, November 10th. So, when this episode comes out tomorrow,
Tomorrow.
if MGM Resorts, Caesars Entertainment, and Wynn Resorts, the three largest gaming employers in the state, fail to strike a deal before then. The labor group represents 60,000 workers across Nevada, and as of September 15th, roughly 40,000 workers are working under an expired contract. So they're having negotiations right now, and I did read that the like gaming employers are basically saying that they don't think there's anything wrong with whatever, and they've done everything
Hmm.
they can do. So, but I think probably time is of the essence at this point. Like,
Yeah.
they're
I
gonna
mean, they're smart.
yeah.
Yeah.
The union workers, let's fucking
It's
go. Let's go, girls. Come
they're
on, ladies.
they're
Now let's
they're
get
playing
information.
they're playing a game of chicken right now because the employers are like, well, this is going to be a huge weekend, huge money making weekend for them. So why would they strike? But the employees are like, this is going to be a huge weekend for them. And if we're not working, then they're going to be fucked. So it's really, it's who's gonna blink first here.
Yeah.
And I hope that the workers get all of their demands and what they deserve because everyone in this country is vastly underpaid
Yeah.
and overworked. So I'm with them. And even if we go to Vegas and everything's shut down, I won't be mad about it because I hope the fucking greedy capitalists pay up.
Pay up.
Pay up, bitch. Also,
Bitch
we're
better have my
seeing
money.
we're seeing some pushback on the F1 race as well because they've been putting up like film across like all of the bridges so that you can't see the race through like the walkways and stuff because obviously Vegas is being a pain in the ass about this because once again F1 is putting on this race. It's not the circuit, it's like the corporation F1 in
Mhm.
Vegas. And so and like even the bars have to pay a package. Like they have to buy rights to play this race in Vegas. And they have to pay F1 for that so that they can host people at the bar to watch as if it's just not going to be on ESPN. Whatever. But like people have been ripping down the film. People are just like, fuck this. Like I'm ripping it down. Like
Power to the people,
no.
man.
The community is
Viva
rising up.
France. Viva Las
So
Vegas. Viva Las Vegas. Truly.
Viva Las
Viva Las
Vegas.
Vegas.
So I'm excited, but I'm also like so curious to just experience and honestly report back on like what it's like because it's gonna be the first one. It's gonna be tricky. We were obviously at the Miami one and we had a lot to say about it. But it's gonna be something to think about.
Something to think about.
Back to some of the rumors. Carlos's current relationship is fake. Now,
This
I
is
don't really know.
a classic rumor for like a popular, like this is this is just, I'm not surprised.
Louis and Eleanor, Harry and Taylor. It's everything. Okay, Nick and Miley. Everyone has haters, especially when they're dating your fave. So I don't know what the premise of this rumor is.
Someone said that, I
Um,
mean, they said that they think it's fake and Carlos just wants attention from Ferrari. And I was like, I don't know if dating someone random would get you attention from the team that you're on. I just
especially
was
because
like,
she's not anyone who's like well known,
right, she's a Scottish
right?
model. Like she's from Scotland. Like it's not even like she's like, "Oh, I'm
Italian.
Italian, I'm related to Enzo Ferrari."
Yeah. Yeah, this rumor doesn't really hold any weight.
I'm
I
unsubscribing from this one.
This one's just not it for me.
Yeah.
So I'm choosing to ignore this rumor.
Yeah.
And for that reason, I'm out.
And for that reason, I've unsubscribed. Okay, so this next one Riley brought to us, and it's the Kim Illman editing conspiracy.
This one was juicy.
So apparently, Kim Illman, everyone's favorite creepy photographer in the F1 paddock, has come under fire recently for editing some of his photos, which he's never done before. But allegedly, he is only editing photos of Charles' girlfriend, Alex. So people are under his photos of her being like, oh my God, do you notice? Like, why did he just start editing his photos? Like, have you noticed that Alex edits her photos to make her skin look better and take like this like beauty mark off of her nose, and he's
Hmm.
doing that now, and he's editing her skin to be flawless and all this stuff, and also
And
everyone's calling her
someone was
racist,
like,
and
yeah,
like
people are calling her racist. I don't really know what the
I don't know the
deal with
basis
that
for
one
that,
is.
if she
But
is or live
also,
it, but
people are like, she's paying him
to
to
edit
edit
photos of her.
photos for her. But apparently, he's been deleting comments that bring this up. So that adds a whole nother layer of kind of like questionability.
Hmm.
So I don't know, but we'll be watching.
I'm not subscribing or unsubscribing, but I am clicking I'm interested.
I would like to sign up for updates
Updates please.
before I decide to buy.
Yeah, a trial period. I'm trial
Yeah,
perioding
I will. Yeah,
this conspiracy.
exactly.
Okay, the next one, also about Alex, made me laugh so hard today because we got two messages from the same person. The first one was Charles cheated on Alex in Austin.
Mexico. Oh,
In
Austin.
Austin.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, crazy, unsure. And then the next one that they said Alex cheated on Charles in Austin with his brother Arthur.
With Arthur.
I was like, well, which
Pick a
one?
lane.
So
Which one
what's
is
the
it?
truth?
They
It's
all cheated on
Oprah.
each other?
What's the truth?
What's the truth?
It's just who's
Were
doing
you
what?
cheated on or were you cheating?
Was it a threesome? Two Leclerc's, one Alex.
Like what's going
What are
on?
we? What's going on? Did Charles cheat on Alex with his brother? What's happening?
There's so many
There's a lot of
possibilities and so
layers.
many outcomes here. But that was an interesting
That
one.
was an interesting one in that
It did get a good giggle.
yeah, I was just like, I am not subscribing to this, but it did make me laugh. So it's a thumbs up for effort.
For entertainment value.
And entertainment value is an A. It was FYE for your entertainment. And then we also got something from this is the last one we got, which
Mhm.
is someone said that their friend, this is the most du moi
Yeah.
of the tips that we got sent in, was my friend worked for the Montreal Grand Prix and she said that all the drivers cheated on their wags except for Seb Vettel. Unsurprising that Seb is a good guy, Seb. But
Yeah.
I'm like,
All of them?
she had eyes on every single one of them. I don't believe that for a second.
I mean, I don't believe it either. I'm trying to think.
So it must have been last year's Montreal. So like Montreal 22
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
Seb was still on the grid.
Yeah. I mean, Montreal's famously a place where you get cheated on. I would know. So, famously,
Cole said,
your
and I
man
think
goes
that
to
personally.
Montreal. Your man goes to Montreal and he's cheating on you. That's how it goes. So,
That
been
is
there, can
famously what
relate.
happens there.
It is famously. So, I from my personal experience, I'm subscribing to this rumor.
Said I took that personally. So that's that. Those are some of the hottest, juiciest, spiciest rumors you guys had for us to dive into. We have a couple other conspiracies, but we're saving those for the girls' room.
A
So
later date.
we'll get there in a
Yeah.
second. This next thing that we have to talk about.
Yeah, I'd love to discuss the possibility of a new Enchanté drop.
I mean, I'm not
To,
surprised. I've been saying this. And I've always said this is that Danny needs to stop.
and I'm on board.
Stop,
I
drop, and
agree with
roll,
you.
Danny. Stop, drop, and roll.
You're
The
done.
house is on fire. You're
You're
the
done.
arson. Too much
So Enchante has come out of its sleeping period after
of 2
records,
weeks.
Daniel Ricciardo records, and posted a new photo today of a car with some skis on it. Now, I don't know if we're just going to be re-promoting Chalet,
I hope
the
so.
Chalet collection, because if not, are we doing oh, there's 3.
There's 3.
Oh, there's 2 new posts. Okay.
Okay, what does
So
it
he posted this one of this woman
say? Okay.
and then this one of this car. So
I can't keep up.
I can't keep up. You can't keep getting away with this. It's too
No.
many slices. Enough with the Enchante drops. Like once a
I
quarter. Can we do once a quarter maybe? Like I'll
like
accept once a quarter.
like truly.
And
One
this is coming
each
from
every season.
the queens of a merch drop. Okay. We know how we've overdone it. Okay. You are going to fatigue your buying market. You're going to fatigue the consumers and they're going to drop off. They're not going to want to buy your shit anymore, Danny. So you better stop before it's too late.
Yeah.
You, your eyes like this. You're like,
He's
yeah.
over
You
he's
see that?
overdid it. He's
He's
overdid it.
overdicted.
I don't see a lot of good things in his future. That's so ravening right now. I'm seeing Danny's future and it's not good.
Maybe, Danny, if you were dating me, I could give you this business advice.
But
You can take business advice from me.
unless you have a business that you're passionate about.
Sorry. Okay. Just saying. I do have a business degree from a reputable college, a
And an
reputable
LLC, baby.
university, and an LLC. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
So if you want
But
business advice, you can come to me. And I'm gonna tell you enough with the Enchante drops.
enough. But
I'll give you that one for free.
Here's the
The
thing
next one's gonna cost you.
is we do have one merch drop that could come that I'm actually waiting on bated breath for. Charles
Fingers
was
crossed.
seen for the first time in years sporting one of his Clace shirts, which is, for those of you who don't know the
Clache.
lore, would you say Clache?
Clache.
Clache. For those of you that don't know the lore, Charles had a clothing line that he was working on for a while and wanted to put it out called Clace, Clace, but Ferrari wouldn't let him because they have an agreement with Puma, like they're sponsored by Puma, and that's where they like what the clothes that they wear. So he couldn't come out with his own clothing line. Super bummer for
And
the
if you
Chuck slut.
remember, there was a scene in Drive to Survive like 2
Mhm.
seasons ago where Seb is basically getting fired from Ferrari. They're not re-signing his contract, and so he's lost all fucks to give. And someone asks Charles about his clothing collection, and Seb goes, "Oh, he's not releasing that. He can't release that." He's like, "Guess what?
That was the
I'm not around, so
yeah,
I can say whatever I want." That was so chaotic.
so good.
So it's been a couple years in the making.
Yeah, so I'm hoping upon hope for some Charles Leclerc clothing line for
Well,
myself.
he heard our podcast episode last week and said,
Mhm.
"Well, everyone's getting a fucking business that they're passionate about.
I gotta get on
I
mine.
gotta,
He said,
I
I
gotta get
gotta
on mine."
revamp Clace.
So you're welcome, team, because
You're
it's because of
welcome.
us that we're getting Charles Leclerc clothing
Chuck
line.
Sluts Unite. You're welcome.
Don't forget about it.
All right, let's get into the girls' room. Let's get back to some rumors and
Girls'
gossip.
room.
So, the first thing I want to talk about in the girls' room is Queen Issa. And
The tea.
since Issa and Carlos broke up, she has just been going off on social media. Like, she is just dropping hint after hint after hint, just absolutely just pouring little cups of tea every day for us. Like, she's doing like all these like TikToks, like voiceovers, and she
She
just
loves She loves a TikTok voiceover.
Like a little if you know, you know. She's like it's like when people used to subtweet, like she's sub
Yeah.
TikToking Carlos. But
Yeah.
she just released an episode of her podcast, Esta de Moda, with her friend. And it seems like they're getting into a little more like lifestyle and like personal stuff on the
Mhm.
podcast. And so they had this whole debate over, is it better to be broken up with? Or is it better to break up with someone? And her friend was like very much team it's better to be broken up with because then
Mhm.
it's like their
You
fault
don't have to make a
and you don't have to
decision.
do
Yeah.
it and you don't have to hurt someone. And Issa was like, absolutely not. It's definitely better to break up with someone because like you're
If I'm in an uncomfortable relationship or I'm in a place that I don't wanna be, like, it's gonna hurt, yeah, but, like, I'm gonna be better off for it.
and she
Like,
was like, "It's
I'm
unfair for me and the person
yeah.
that I'm with to
Yeah.
stay in it if I'm, like, faking it and pretending, and, like, if I" she's like, "I've been in both, but, like, if I'm in a relationship that I don't like anymore and I'm not happy in and I don't feel comfortable in anymore, like, I'm gonna end it, and, like, they'll eventually understand." And I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah.
damn, Issa had some beef." She had some beef with Carlos, and now I really wanna know, and so it's
I
seeming
know.
like Issa is kinda saying that she ended things with Carlos,
Yeah.
and all was not as well as we thought for a while. So and she's just kind of been shading him for a while, and I'm like, "I need to know
But
what
also she's been shading Rebecca too because she put out a TikTok recently where she was like, "Oh, like,
when she
she can
used to
beat
follow
me."
you."
No,
Oh,
that
that
was
was
Katarina.
Kika.
Yeah. No,
Oh,
that
no, it's
was,
Katarina, about Kika.
yeah. Yeah. No, there was one where she was like, I don't remember what the beginning of the audio was, but it was like, "But she'll never have as good of an outfit as me." And it was like Issa like dancing or whatever in some outfit. And so I was like, "Okay, pop off, bitch. Yes, that's true. Issa
She's
does
just
have
being
the
a
best
shady
style."
bitch, and I'm loving this journey for her. She was so under the radar the whole time they were together, and now she's, like, above the radar, and
And
I
I mean, we've talked
am
about this where we're like, what was the reason for that? Was it him or was it
yeah.
her? So
I feel like
I'm
maybe
glad
he
to
was dulling
be
her sparkle a little bit.
yeah. So she had to get out and she was in an uncomfortable relationship and I love that for her.
I love that for
I
her.
can't I can't wait to see who her next man or woman is
Amen.
or person.
Amen. So the next person that's doing a little, like, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, sparking the rumor police is Miss Louisa.
Yeah.
And so Louisa is Lando's ex-girlfriend. She's adorable. She's a cute little Portuguese model. She's just like, well, we loved her. She was
Mhm.
just like a fun little ray of sunshine. And so they broke up early last year, like last season. It was in the summer. So it was like early fall of
Yeah.
2022. And they were the first ones to do like an announcement of their breakup because they posted
Yeah.
something for like 1 second and then deleted it. And then they were like just never seen together again. It was bizarre. But Nicole and I have always conspired that they never actually broke up. And it was
Mhm.
more of something where like she was getting a lot of hate online and they like kind of wanted to pretend to break up so that people would stop like hating on her.
Yeah.
But she's been giving us a little bit of like a wink wink that they might still be together or they might be rekindling or something. And they've, continued throughout like the time that they've been broken up to like each other's posts. Like Lando is
Mhm.
always liking her posts. He's always in there. But this past weekend, she was in Brazil at the same time as the Brazilian Grand Prix and
Yep.
she was posting videos and photos and on race day, right?
Yep.
Or was it yesterday?
It was yesterday.
So on Monday,
No. No, it was
it was
Sunday.
Sunday?
It was like
So
Sunday
on
afternoon.
Sunday, on race day in the afternoon, evening, she posted some photos on her Instagram story of herself wearing a shirt that had
Seemingly
some
like
papaya.
but there was also it looked like there was race cars on it. Like, it
Okay,
was like
well, you
corsetti.
wanna know what it looked like? It looked like one of our driver shirts that Riley designed.
Yeah,
Nick
a
had
little
no
bit.
idea who it was, and he was like, "What is this, someone" he literally just brought it to me out of nowhere and was like, "Is this someone that just, like, DIY'd one of your shirts?" He had no idea who she was. And
Yeah, so
I
it
hadn't
looked
seen it yet, and I was like, "Oh, maybe, I don't know," and then I looked at the story and I was like, "Oh my god, no, that's Louisa."
yeah, so it was like orange and blue, and it was like corsetti, but it was kinda chopped up, and it looked like there was an F1 car, and then she said, "Great day,"
She
and
had a
then the
happy
orange
day.
happy day
one of
heart
the papaya
emoji.
hearts that McLaren uses all the time. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. What are you trying to tell us, Lou?
I'm just
So
saying, it's a
remains to be
little
seen. Who's to
suspect.
say something could be going on?
Something's afoot, and
Our
I'm
girl
looking.
is giving the side eye right now.
Mhm.
Elena was also in Brazil. So
Yeah,
this
this was
is,
kind of crazy of
yeah.
her.
So Elena is Esteban's ex-girlfriend. They were together for a while. They broke up in like spring, early summer, I think. But she has been like soft launching her new man for like kind of months at this point. Like she keeps just like dropping soft launch photos of his hands and his feet and whatever. And then all of a sudden, they're at the Brazilian Grand Prix together. And I was like, kind of crazy that you and your new man are going to see your ex man do his thing. But I think that he is like a Brazilian
He's like an actor or a
or
football player.
something.
Yeah, yeah, he's
So it was like
something.
his race in his home country, but still kind of interesting. So the Waxer is kind of like on one this week.
Yeah,
I'm
they're
loving it.
they're certainly it's a lot. It's kind of crazy that they're heating up now as the season comes to an
I
end. So it's like,
know.
where were y'all
Where were you
all
guys?
season when we were begging? We were
Begging.
begging for girls' room content.
We were begging. Okay. All right, it's time for Manifest Minute. So this week, our manifest is from a longtime listener, first time manifester named Danielle. Danielle is facing a situation at work where she's worried that they are headed for layoffs. Her job is going to be okay, but she'll lose some key members of her team, and she's really upset for them and is just kind of concerned about what her future looks like beyond this. She really loves her job at the moment and her team. She has autonomy, accountability, and respect. And she gets to be a leader and a mentor, which she loves. So she's just kind of questioning, like, is this the right place for her? Is it time to move on? Like, what kind of does this spell out for her future? So she's hoping for some community manifesting power to give her some clarity and peace with the decisions she's facing and the strength to handle the road ahead, whatever that may be. So we love this. This is a perfect use of Manifest Minute. So if everyone can please close your eyes and take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And I want you to think of our friend Danielle. And, she's right now kind of in a period of unknowns. And I think that's kind of the biggest thing that people can be afraid of, right? They say that there's nothing to fear but fear itself. And right now the unknown is something that people are really afraid of. It's why people are afraid of the dark. It's why people are afraid of space. It's why people are afraid of the deep ocean, because it's things that we don't know, things that are unknown. And that's what scares us, because we like to have control. We like to know where things are going. And that's kind of where Danielle is right now. She kind of feels like she's losing that control and that clarity. And I think we've all been there before. Whether a big thing or a small thing, everyone's kind of felt that anxiety of feeling a little out of control and a little bit unknowing about what's to come. And so I would love everyone to kind of think about that time in your life or a situation you were in and kind of how that felt, but also how you feel now that you've gotten through it. And I want everyone to kind of push that thought and those feelings towards our friend Danielle, so that she knows that, no matter what happens, things are going to be okay. And I think let's just kind of put all of that positive energy towards Danielle so she feels like she has some clarity and some peace. So we're going to seal in the manifest of peace and clarity for Danielle with a big deep breath in and a big deep breath out. And to lock this in for this week, I have some marching orders for everyone. And that is, I want everyone to really just kind of focus on thinking about understanding that there are several different paths ahead of you, and there's nothing called the right path or the wrong path or the right decision, the wrong decision. Everything is just a choice. Whatever choice you make, you have to just trust in yourself and believe in yourself and know that whatever you choose is the right thing for you. And, there are so many different things that can happen in this world. There are so many ways that your life can play out. Just because you make one decision instead of another doesn't mean that all those possibilities are now gone. You know, things are going to be great and things happen for a reason. And you just have to really trust yourself and trust your gut and do what feels right. And as long as you do the things that are going to feel right to you in your core, in your heart, then there's really no bad decision that you can make.
Amen. That was so beautiful. It's what I needed to hear this week too. So thank you so much.
And Danielle, I hope that things work out for you. I know that they will. And just know that you are strong and powerful and smart. And only you can know best, like what is best for you. And with that, we are signing off on our 99th episode. We'll be back next week with a
We'll see
really
you.
fun 100th episode. We're going to ask you guys kind of what you want to hear from us, what you want us to do. Someone reminded us that we said we would spill some secrets on
I
our
have to think
100th
about what
episode.
secrets I haven't already
I
spilled on this
know.
podcast.
So we'll be kind of asking you guys if you have any questions you want us to answer, any specific segments you want us to do, or kind of what you want out of the 100th episode, because we want it to be something that you love, because we obviously would not have gotten to 100 episodes without all of you at home listening in your car, at work, on runs, on
Your
walks,
runs.
kind of wherever you are listening. We appreciate you and we love you. And we'll do our best to make number 100 the best one yet. But until then,
Right.
we'll see you on the internet. Bye.
Bye.